Okay. How's everybody doing this evening? Tamam?
Great. So
Sorry, tamam. Sorry, tamam.
sorry,
Tamam.
tamam.
Sorry, tamam. Sorry means everybody or all, right? And tamam means good, okay.
Honus.
Khonos. All right. So I got to tell you guys, we got 26 people the first class, 22 the second, 23 here on the third class, September 27th, 2021. I'm impressed. I guess those cash payments that I'm sending you guys to keep coming are working. By the way, did everybody get the email about the WhatsApp group? Okay. The WhatsApp group is helpful because a lot of you have questions. And I realized when I was spelling these words for you guys, thank you, Ahmed. When I was spelling these words for you guys, and I think I commented this to several of you. It's not the Circassian alphabet that's hard. That's hard. I hate the word hard. It's the pronunciation that is kind of hard. I'll admit it is hard. So some of these transliterations probably didn't make sense. So for many of you, I either sent you an audio recording through email, which is a little time consuming for me, which is why I thought of creating the WhatsApp group. So with the WhatsApp group, I can just click and record and send you guys an audio note. So if you haven't joined it, that's the reason I formed it. So please do check it out. Check out the email, join, and we'll get a conversation going there. So, all right. Before we dive in, I want to do a quick sanity check. All right. Feel free to unmute yourselves, everybody. I just want to spend a few minutes at the beginning of this class. Whoever wants to talk, we're all grown-ups here. You know, I think there's a couple of kids, but they're very adult-like. I want to hear from people 2 things you liked about classes so far, and 1 thing you're not crazy about, something you don't like or something that we can improve upon. Just whoever wants to share.
Can I start?
Sure.
Okay. So this is a bit on the spot, but right now, off the top of my head, the 2 things I like the most, I think, are, I think you as a teacher, because I think you have really strong leadership skills, and like you're showing them every class, like how you get us really interested in the content, and I feel like that helps us.
I didn't pay him. I swear I did not pay him.
No, it's true. I mean, it's true. And the other thing I like, I think I really like how I like the interactivity. I like how I really like how it's like you're putting us in an almost natural setting, and like you're trying to make us acquire it as if we were babies, because that's how babies acquire their first language, right? I think it's really playful and really it makes us, I mean, at least me, it makes me excited, I think, because I feel like I'm always surprised, like, oh my God, what's the next word gonna be? What's the next thing we're gonna learn next? It's excitable, I think. And the one thing I would improve, I think, I don't know. Sometimes I think I would like it sometimes if you could accompany your content with a bit more explanations. Like, for example, because I know you said that you didn't want to put too much grammar because you didn't want to, I guess because you wanted to make it relatable for everyone, even those who weren't necessarily the biggest grammar nerds in the world. And I completely understand that. But I also think that there is a way to make grammar easier to learn than people's experiences in school, and also fun to learn. Like, it doesn't have to be super boring like the traditional way, but that doesn't mean, grammar doesn't necessarily equal like bad or traditional or boring. Like, you can make it fun. So I think if you could combine both approaches or even multiple approaches, maybe that might fit every single person in the class, rather than saying, oh, my approach might work at least for most people, But if you combine many approaches, it'll work for everyone, I think, not just most people, if that makes sense.
Makes sense.
Okay.
Others, things that you like, things that you don't like. It's free for all. I got thick skin. Don't worry. Inal, go ahead.
So two things that I liked. I really liked how interactive it is. I think there's a lot of classes where you take classes for language and they don't have that interactivity, and so you sort of pick up understanding the language, but you never really actually start speaking it. So the fact that the classes are interactive really forces you to speak however bad it is. And I also really like the breakout rooms for the same, the same reason, because it sort of forces everybody to speak the language and actually use it in practice. One thing, not particularly that I dislike, just find difficult is, but you're aware of this, the pronunciations and the fact that we kind of skipped over the alphabet. But again, you're aware of this, and you sent out the links to the alphabet video, which is very helpful. But yeah, just I think going through how certain sounds are pronounced or how they should be, how they should sound, would be helpful as well.
Okay. Is there anybody here who has a burning desire? Let's talk about the alphabet for just a minute. It is critical to learn the alphabet because what I'm doing is providing you with rough approximations about how the pronunciation is structured. They are rough. And in Circassian, just to give you an example, in Kabardian, which is the dialect we're teaching, that Lydia and I are teaching, we have the sound sh, we have the sound s, we have the sound sl. Sh, s, sl. Those are all approximated by an SCH or an SH or an SCH apostrophe, but it's not super clear. We also have the sound sh, which is an LH. That's how it's approximated. And sometimes we have sh, right? Excuse me. Sorry about that. So, there's rough approximations, and it is critical to advance beyond this basic stage to know the alphabet so that if I say to you, we should just for, you can see that there's actually a Z in there and a J in there. Z and J. It's very minor, but to be able to see that, right? And then also a lot of you have a desire to communicate with people. Now, if you are communicating with family members who are near you, you can do that verbally. But in the WhatsApp group, you've already seen there are people who are dropping audio notes. There are also people who are typing, right? So does anybody want to share their views or their thoughts on the alphabet? One thing, before I say that, one thing I think the feedback I've gotten, in addition to what, it's very similar to what Yanal has shared, is that people like the fact that day number one, they walked away with some words in their head, and a traditional approach, you might spend several weeks going through the alphabet, which is an abstract concept, before you get the reward of being able to communicate in the language. So I'm just curious what people's thoughts are on the alphabet in general, if anybody has a very, very strong feeling about the alphabet. And it's fine if you don't care.
Well, sorry, me again. I really like how many sounds Circassian has. Like it's really cool, like how many subtle contrasts between sounds or letters exist. Like ha and ch, and like ch and ch that are both different letters, and then ha even like in Arabic, and sh and sh, like I really like that, like all the different sounds. And especially compared to how many vowels, like there are so many consonants, but like not that many vowels. Like I find it really fascinating.
Okay. Well, let's leave it there, guys. I want to jump into the class, but again, we're always soliciting feedback because we're trying to find ways that we can make this as rewarding and as positive as possible. Okay.
Gentil, can I make a suggestion, quick suggestion?
Yeah.
Maybe at the beginning of each class, we could introduce a few letters at a time with sounds and images. What do you think? I think that would be.
So I like the idea, but I would say, I was thinking about this today. Let's make it at the end of class. And maybe we can make like a rule where we'd say, the first 45 or the first, it's an hour class. At the end of the hour, anybody who wants to drop can drop. They don't have to apologize. They don't have to feel they're being rude because the official class has ended, but we can stick around for an extra 15 minutes to do a little bit of alphabet.
Oh, that's not gonna work. Let's do part of a class, okay? So why should it be extra 15 minutes? Let's
Because
do
most people
5
here don't want to learn the alphabet.
Are you sure? Let's do the head count. I'm not so sure about that. If people don't speak, I mean, yeah, they maybe we should do a count or something
Let's
like
do that. If you really want to learn the alphabet,
Can
put a
we
little
show-
hand up.
Can you show the screen? We don't see each other.
Yeah, okay. You know what? The reason
Yeah.
reason I did that is because when I realized when these videos are going, even though we're sharing the screen, I think it's just me. Like it's just a
Yeah.
big picture of me, which I don't. Well, anyways, so put your hand, use the emoticon to put your hand up if you really want to learn the alphabet. 2, 3. Okay.
Honestly, I don't know if anyone can hear me.
We can hear you.
Can hear.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, I mean, I would like to learn the alphabets, but my main goal is I want to learn how to speak it first. I feel like if we're gonna combine learning the alphabets and learning how to speak, it's gonna be a little bit too difficult. So I feel like once we get the hang of it, at least if we're able to speak like 60 or 70% of Circassian language, then it would be a lot more easier for us to learn the alphabets.
Mhm.
I mean, it's just, I'm just
No,
giving my
Yeah,
opinion. Maybe
that's what we're looking for. We're looking for opinions. So, all right, 7 out of 26. You can guys put your hands down. We'll take it offline. Lydia, I do have some thoughts on how we talked about this on Sunday.
Okay,
so-
sure.
All right, so let's jump in. And again, I'm going to be looking in 5 different directions because I'm managing Zoom and chat and admitting people who are late and all this other good stuff. If you haven't already, please do update your name in the Zoom so I don't see I don't see like 40 Jaunty Amishas. Okay, I'm going to share my screen again. All right, you guys can see my screen? Okay. Class.
Sit.
Oh, ده ضد مرس عالس. مرس عالس. عالم يتسر. نارج. هج. عالم يتسر نارج. عالم يتسر نارج. We go in a little bit here. Okay, so this is where we left off last time. عالم يتسر نارج. عالم يتسر نارج. انطار نار خجبز. هوا نار خجبز قم. ست نارت. عالش نارت عالش. نارت عالش. هج. سسش عالة.
هوا
Waurobatch.
Sasorobach. Okay. Ahmed.
Sit.
What was sit?
Sasash alash.
What was alash? What were khajabs?
Hawa.
What were khajabs qim?
Sas khajabs.
What was ala?
Sasash alas.
Pej. Aslan bachqaz.
Sit.
What? Sitzer. Sitzer sit.
Janti.
Sitzer jantish. Pej. What? Witzer sit. Aslan. Just Witzer. What Witzer sit?
Sasitzer Aslan.
Pej. دغوددش. George.
Sit.
Sit Aslan.
I'm sorry.
Nart. Sit Nart.
Nart Alish.
Nart Alash. Maya.
Sit.
نارتش على هم خجبز
نارتشالش
ما نارتش علش فارة وش على هم خجبز I'm sorry, your microphone is, I can't hear you. وهو خجبز بج وهو خجبز برزج خدش على
سسش على
ووش علش our مبديجن مسورة مشش in this picture خدش على
نارش علش
نارتش علش بج Brandon, I'm going to say something now. Nart khajebs. Arpej. Hawa. Arpejqum. Arpej. Pej is correct. Pejqum. I put it was on the next slide. Hang on. I put Delwa somewhere. Oh, I lost it.
It was extra, yeah. It was extra on top somewhere.
Yeah, so let me put it back here.
Jabskum, pajkum. It's the same sort of suffix you add. Badakum.
Yep. So we just add qum. Okay. So Brandon. What khajabs? Hawa. What was Alice? Lydia.
Sit.
Alim yitzar sit.
Adam yitzar narch.
Pej. Yemiz.
ست
Alim yitzar aslan.
حوا شعالم يتسر نارتش
Pej. Margarita. Nart Sala. Hama khajabs. Nart Nadia. Sasa Sala.
Hawa.
Hawa Sasa khajabs. Hawa. Sasa khajabs qim. Sasa robach. Pejqa. Sasa robach. Omar.
ست
والروبوت.
حوا سسي شعلم
ووسالس. Pej. نور.
ست
أحمد شعلة. حما خجبز.
أحمد علش
Wasa. What about you? Wasa.
ساسش علش
ووس Alice. I see a young lady with a black shirt and she has my name.
Oh, dua.
Dua. Okay, well, I know your name, but I'm going to ask you anyways.
Okay.
Witzar sit.
Dua.
Dua.
Sasitsar. I hope I'm
Duash.
saying this right. Sasitsar duash.
Duash. Wa witzar duash. Pej. Zanshawa. Dua khajabs. Hamash ala.
نتا
Nta. Pej. Nur.
ست
How? ما أدري نور ستاس. ووش على حما خجبز. I can't hear you. The volume's not working. Okay, well, let's see. I think I hit everybody who has video. Okay, so does everybody feel reasonably comfortable with this content so far? Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
What I'm going to do, we're going to go into breakout rooms. All right. I'm going to put 3 of you to a room. Is the number 3 okay?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to drop 3 of you to a room. I'm going to give you guys 5 to 7 minutes. I want each person to take a screen snapshot if you need to. And let me see. I'm going to allow, okay. Some of you wanted to share last time and you weren't able to. So I'm going to enable you guys to share your screens if you want to share your screens. So you should have that ability. Take a screenshot, take a screen snapshot of what's on the screen. I want you each to make 3 statements, 3 factual statements about anything in the story. Could be about yourself, it could be about Nart, it could be about whatever. And I want you to ask 3 questions to the people that you're around. Okay, so everybody take their screen snapshots. All right, I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop the share. I'm gonna pause the recording. And we're back. So we just spent 4 grueling hours in the workout room. I know you guys are, no, I'm just kidding. It was 5 minutes. We paused the video. We're back. Did you guys, now honestly, did you guys really talk to each other in Circassian, or you were just BSing and, you know, making fun of me behind my back or something like that? No? Okay.
Both.
You know what? You're all allowed to make fun of me, but you got to do it in Circassian. Okay. So in the What's Up group, if you guys start asking me for certain words like retard or dummy or something, I'm going to know you guys are talking about me behind my back. So although the advantage of speaking Circassian, since it's such a small language, you can talk about people in front of their back. I do that all the time. So, all right. Everybody's back in. Let's go back into the screen share. I'm glad that everybody enjoyed themselves. And we are going to move on because I think by now we all know that this little boy's name is Nart. Okay. We covered all this stuff. Okay, so we're going to learn a new word today. We're going to learn a few new words today. All right. Class, sit. Yin. Oh. Yin. Yin.
Yin.
Whoa. What do you guys think yin means?
Big.
Big. Yin. Okay. Merobater yins. Oh. Me robater yins. Oh. The robot is big. The robot is big. Okay. Look.
Small.
Class.
Sit.
Look.
Oh.
Smurf. Sooks. Oh. Remember, Smurfs are only 3 apples high. So that's pretty small. Pretty small. Okay. So yin. Okay. Class.
Sit.
Robot yin. Hamatzuk.
Robot
Yins.
Robot yinch. Pej.
Yins.
Pej. Smurf yin. Hamatzuk.
Smurf.
Smurf zuks. Arzuks. Smurf zuks. The Smurf is small. Arzuks. He or it or she. Remember, in Circassian, it's like Turkish. He, she, it. It's all ar. All ar. Okay. Okay. Class.
Sit.
Okay. Abreg. Hash. Oh. Abreg. Hash. Oh. Yichi. And let me put that on the screen for you. Give me a second here. Yichi. Circassian. English letters. Hang on. Yichi. Okay. There we go. Whoa, lychee. spelling correct? Okay. Yichi and. Okay. So class.
Sit.
Sit.
Abreg hash. Oh.
Oh.
Yichi abreg zuks. Oh. Abreg sala.
Hawa.
Awa.
Hawa.
Abreg hash. Aha. Abreg hash. Nartha.
Hawa.
Hawa.
Jalas.
Nartalash. Class.
Sit.
Ham. Yitzer. Sit. Aha. Abregs. Ham. The dog. Yitzer. His name. Sit. What is it? Ham yitzer sit.
Abregs.
Abregs. Har.
Ham
Abregs.
yitzer abregs.
Ham yitzer abregs. Pej. That was very fast. You're grabbing this. It's all the other languages rattling around in your head. Okay. So, Yanal, do you have a question?
Yes. What's the neutral form of dog? Because I've heard hesh,
Neutral.
I've heard hem.
Say again. What do you mean by neutral form?
One that doesn't have any suffixes.
Ha.
Khe. Just
Ha.
khe.
Ha.
Ha. Okay.
Ha.
thanks.
Ha.
Ha. It's like a hard H. It's not ch. It's not ch. Ha. Like ha.
Ha. Okay.
Okay.
Soft. Yeah, it's softer in your throat. Ha.
Yeah.
Ha.
It's yeah. So Yamiz.
Sit.
Wujabs.
Hawa.
Wawasala.
انطاه.
انت ووصالش. ووحى.
Hawa.
Hawa.
وشالش.
ووصالش.
أسسش آلش.
ووصالش. Rashisar. That's what I said. Nur.
Sit.
Ham yitzar sit.
Ham yitzer abreg.
Ham yitzar abregs. Maya.
Sit.
Shalem yitzar abreg.
Hawa. Shale. Yitzer. Narch.
Shalem yitzar narch. Pej. Let me see. Let me go to the next page. Give me a second here, because I'm struggling with like entertaining you guys and working on the slides. So let me do this. This is going to be an ugly slide. Whoops. But I want to give you guys all the information on the screen at the same time. And this is going to be really busy, but I apologize. Whoops. Is it better like this, or is this too much information?
I think it's fine.
Yeah, I think it's fine too.
Yeah, okay. So let me try this. Let me move this up here. It's funny. I was talking, so Lydia and I and others, we meet on Sundays and we go through course materials and stuff like that. And, if this was a classroom, I'd have a whiteboard and I could turn around and scribble and do all that stuff. And it's just hard to try to look at you guys and control Zoom and do this stuff. Oh, and I see there's 6 things in the chat. All right. If you guys, Batwoman. All right. I'm not going to look there anymore. Okay. So let's go back to this. And I just got rid of the who, what, where. Hang on. Let me move this down here. This. Okay. All right. I think everything's on this page. Okay. Except for the words for big and for big. So we don't have the word for big. Class.
Sit.
Abregian.
Hawa.
Abreg suks.
Abreg.
Class.
Sit.
Sasitsuk.
Hawa.
Hawa.
Hawa. Sasiyinch.
متى.
Sasayins.
ويربات.
Oh, Sasayins. Ham yitzar mart.
حوا
Hawa. Ham yitzar sit.
أبراج.
Abreg.
أبرج.
Ham yitzar abregs. Okay. Not sure what to do from here. Lydia, do you want to take a round of this?
Sure.
Hang on, there's a bus coming. Let me push you under it.
Yeah, right. Okay. Class.
Sit.
Sassies are gentil.
Sassy robot.
Sassies are Lydia.
what is Lydias?
Lydias. Então, sassies are
Lydias.
Lydia.
Lydias.
صعدة.
حوا.
هو
وخجبس.
سخجبس. نارتحة.
حوا. مرجالة.
نتشالش
صادش. عبريك حما جدو.
أبراج حس.
عبريك جدوكم. عبريك حش. خد جدور خد ست جدور جدو. That's a cat. Yeah. Jadu. I think it's a fun word. Jadu. Jadu. Psaushaka. Those are the two animals for now. Yeah. Jadu. Ha. Jadu. Jadu hijabs. Here we go. Does anyone know that? Jadu hijabs. Jadu hijabs. What is it? Jadu hijabs.
Female cat.
That's a girl.
Catwoman.
Catwoman. I was trying to say.
Oh, okay.
Catwoman.
You're looking at the chat.
It's just with Batman's and Catwoman. Apparently, after teaching 3 classes, Janti, I'm not in the mood of being serious. But I guess
You
it's
don't
fine.
have to be serious.
We're having fun. Okay.
Yeah.
Abrek hash. Khat jadur. Jadu. Maya Jadu.
Hawa.
Maya Khajabs.
Jaduqa Maya Jabs. Okay. Janti khat. Jada. Hama Jadu.
Janti robots.
Janti robots. Janti robots. Janti, do you feel like continuing?
Yeah. Okay. So we're going to introduce a few more words. Okay. So we're going to keep going with the story, but we're going to introduce a few more words. Denna. Where. Okay. Dawa. How. And you might have heard people say dawa washit. It literally means how do you stand or how do you exist? It means hello or how are you doing? So dawa. Dapsa, how many? Sitchatsa, why? Sitchatsa, okay?
Dapsa is how much also.
How much, how many? Yeah.
How many?
Can you
Okay.
repeat the why? Sit.
Sitchatsa. Okay. Is that Brandon or who asked that question? Omar. So this is not really officially TPRS, but we're all heritage learners. So we all speak a little bit of this language. Let's do a little bit of pronunciation because I heard a few people ask about pronunciation, and we'll use this word as an example. I'm going to insert some pronunciation practice into class, and we're going to use a method called back chaining. You'll understand what it means in just a minute. So you can mute. I do want you guys to mute yourselves for this, but I do want you to practice that in your home. Okay. So don't repeat me yet. I'm going to say the word, and then I'm going to tell you to repeat what I say. So the word for why is sit, which is what, right? So you can see here, the word for sit means what. Here, sit means what. So there's actually two words for why. The first one is sit, and we already know the word for sit, okay? Now, this word here, it's actually two pieces, two syllables. The first piece is, and you can repeat after me, shha. Shha. Shha means head. Shha. Shha. It's one syllable. So now we're going to do some back chaining. Ha. Ha. That's the second part. That's why we call it back chaining. S. That's the first part. S. Now we're going to put it together. Sha. Sha. It literally means head. Now, the second part, it's a full syllable. It is cha. It's not cha, like choo, like choo choo, choo choo. It's not like that cha. It's ka. It's a little bit harder because we cut it short. That's what that apostrophe is trying to show you. It's approximating the real alphabet. Cha. Cha. So this word together is sit cha. So we're going to do back chaining. First, the last syllable. Cha. Cha. Sha. 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 Sit. Sha. And cha means head. Cha means by way of, in this case. So sit cha. What? By way of your head.
What's the reason, I guess?
What's the reason? Yeah.
What's the reason?
What's the reason?
Oh, interesting.
Okay.
One.
Circassian, in the one hand, guys, it sometimes can be a very hard language. People will say it's hard. But when it comes to vocabulary, it is phenomenally easy because from a technical linguistic term, Circassian is a polysynthetic language. And what that means is we have many word roots. Well, we don't have that many word roots. We combine a relatively small number of word roots to make lots of different words. So for example, the word for wussa means together. Wussa means together. To be together, wussan. It's like putting it into the infinitive. It becomes a verb. So the word for spouse, it's a beautiful word. Sha wussa. The person whose head is together with yours. To me, that's beautiful. You know, I'm trying to think of other ones that would be as beautiful as that one. Nothing comes to mind. But once you learn, it sounds complicated. It's not complicated. It's different than what you know. But once you'll start learning some of these word roots, and that's why I do spend some time with the word roots, because you're going to see these on a reoccurring basis, and they're going to be easier to understand over time. Okay. Okay. Now you can unmute yourselves because we're going to go back high energy. All right. All the mutes should be off. All you guys from New Jersey. All right. So we have a new character in the story, guys.
Oh,
this is my friend. Chet. Terminator.
Oh.
Mer Terminators. Oh. Terminators ala.
Awa.
Awa. Terminator hijabs. Awa. Sit Terminator. Robots. Pez. Terminator robots. Robots. Okay. You know how the Terminator talks, right? I am the Terminator.
Ow.
Awa me Terminator adigas. Arasi adigas minamits kapsater. German accent and Circassian from an American dude. What do you guys think?
Amazing.
All right.
Tamam.
Class.
Sit.
Class.
Sit.
Mer Terminator.
Hawa.
Hawa. Hawa. Mer Wonder Womans. Wonder Woman. Sala.
Hawa.
Hawa.
Wonder Woman hijabs.
Wonder Woman hijabs.
Wonder Woman leadership.
That's the Wonder Woman.
Hawa.
Hawa. What? What Wonder Woman?
Hawa.
Hawa. Mirash Wonder Woman. This is Wonder Woman, right? Mirash. So mir means this. When we say mirash, let me put this for you here. This is. It's like we're saying it, like not just this, but we're saying this is, right? And think about this. Remember when I said shala is boy, but when we want to make a statement, we add sh to the end of it, right? Well, mirs sounds strange. So we add a little vowel into the end of it. So it becomes mirash. Mirash. Mirash Wonder Woman. Ooh. Mirash Terminator. Mirash Terminator. Well, I'm not allowed to go backwards in the slides.
I didn't notice.
George, you have a question?
Yes. So if I want to say no, like for example, no, I'm a boy. Like, can I say Hawa sash ala? Does that work?
Yes.
So I'm a boy.
Yeah. So you would say, let's look at the screen. You would say Hawa sas alas.
But does it work if I say sash ala? Like if I put the shib
No.
attach it to
No,
no?
it has to go at the end of the sentence.
Okay, because for mur you could say murash.
That's a special exception.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Nart and Hawa, do you guys have a question?
Yes, if I wanted to ask what's your name, is it correct if I say Khet wa Yitzar?
Yes, it is correct. This came up in the WhatsApp group, and there was a gentleman who had a lovely theory that is unfortunately wrong. In Circassian, so here's what I said in the WhatsApp group. In Circassian, sit is for anything that's not a human, and chet is reserved exclusively for humans. Okay, language is a natural flowing thing. It's like water, and then people come called linguists, and they're wonderful people, and they apply structure so that they can understand how language is structured, how language is formed, right? It's almost like a river does not know it's the Mississippi River, but we call it a Mississippi River so we can understand it, right? And then over time, language becomes formalized and it becomes taught in schools. So in the 1930s and the 1940s in Nalchik, when the language started to be formalized and taught for the first time, the linguists said, well, if chet is reserved for humans, when you see somebody and you meet them, why do you say sitwitzer? In the diaspora, we almost always say sitwitzer. It's very rare to hear chetwitzer in diaspora. In Nalchik, it's acceptable to say sitwitzer, but it's much more prevalent and common to hear chetwitzer. But both are correct.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Also, Janti, can I say something back to George's comment? I think George was asking if he can say that's me, right? So if you go off that Mirash, Wonder Woman, Mirash, Sarash, you can also maybe show that we can also say Sarash, Mir Sarash, that's me. And then Mir Warash, that's you. It's sort of the same, the same concept here. Sarash, warash, arash, arash, arash. And sometimes for okay, is that we say for okay, arash or
Aras, that'll
arash.
do. Yeah,
That'll do. That's
that'll
right.
do.
That'll do. Marash, mirsarash, that's me. And then arwarash, that's you. Yeah. And then also we can use harash, that'll do.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So
Interesting.
can I say Sarash Sish Ale? Like if I want to say I'm a boy, no?
No. It's
Oh.
that's me if you just in that phrase.
Oh, okay.
Well,
Ar
but-
sarash.
But you could say Alar Sarash. It is me who
The
is
boy
the
is
boy.
me.
It is I who is the boy.
Oh, okay.
It's like that.
Okay.
For example, someone is knocking on the door, like, who is it? Khatar. And you want to say on the other side, Ar Sarash, that's me, Sarash, Sarash.
But now my son does this all the time because I'm
That's
trying to
right.
teach him manners. We only speak Circassian in our house. So he knocks on the door. Khatar, Sarash, Khatwara. He says, it's me. I'm like, who are you? You know? All right, we got a few minutes left. So Lydia, this is the experiment I was talking to you about before.
Okay.
If anybody wants to drop, you don't have to worry. You don't have to feel you're being rude. The official time is over. If you want to stick around for 5 minutes or so, or 10 minutes or 15, we're going to try something a little different now. Okay, so we have covered all this material, right? It's still forming in your head. I don't expect any of you to be experts at any of this yet, but you've got a familiarity with all the words that are on this page. Okay. What I've done here, so this is no longer officially TPRS. This is freestyle. What I've done here is it's a very busy slide, but I've added all of the official Circassian alphabet to these words. And if you want, we can spend just 5 or 7 minutes practicing the reading so you can get a sense for the letters and the sounds and you can map them all together in your mind. All right. Again, if you want to drop, it's not rude. I won't be offended. But if you want to stick around, we can do this. It'll take 5 minutes. Okay. So over here, we have this word sit. All right. So you can see in Circassian, it is a form of the Cyrillic alphabet, which is not a Russian alphabet. It's a Cyrillic alphabet, just like there's a Latin alphabet and an Arabic alphabet. And the Arabic alphabet is used from Afghanistan to Pakistan and lots of other countries with the word stan, actually. So here, let me separate these out. So this first letter is S, just like English. And then we have this, looks like a BI, it's I. Then we have the last letter, which looks like a T and sounds like a T. So there's 3 letters here and it's sit. Okay. Then we have here Chet. So you look at it, again, it's 3 letters. The last letter is a T. Looks like a T, sounds like a T because it's a T, right? We know that letter. The first letter looks like an X, shapes like an X. But in Circassian and in Cyrillic, we say this letter like people from Mexico say Mexico, right? So if you speak English, right, think of Mexico. It's not Mexico, it's Mexico. So chet. And again, this is why it's important to learn the alphabet. In Circassian, there's a ch and there's also a ch. And I don't know how to differentiate them using English letters because what I wrote here would actually be chet, and chet is a different word. So this word is chet, okay? Over here, denna. So we have this letter, it looks like a E, and we have it twice here, right? And this letter in Circassian is denna. That's why you see me sometimes spelling this word like UH, because it's denna, right? But it's And those of you who speak Russian, you're already going to see some variants here, like E is not ui, for example. And when we get to an actual ye sound, in Russian it's ye, but for Circassian it's ye, right? So you'll see that in just a minute. Here, the word for yes. And by the way, these slides are all available to everyone. I'll make sure that I email the deck out to everyone so you guys can see this.
Genti, can you read those questions that you just pointed out? Can you read them actually?
Yeah. Sit, het, dana, and then down here, dawa. So again, we have this funky looking letter here, right? If anyone has ever taken mathematics, this is the sign, this is the similar to the Greek letter for delta, right? It looks like a little triangle. That's what that letter is. So it's the, a, looks like an A, sounds like an A. In Circassian, this letter, Y, it makes the w sound, w. And then we covered this E looking letter, dawa. Over here, dapsa, dapsa. So we have this letter that looks like a D. It looks like the Greek delta. This letter that looks like a little rectangle, it's P. Just exactly like English, P, P, P. This letter here that looks like a W with a tail, this is a hard S. It's like if you are talking if somebody's talking in a library, you say shh, right? You're putting that shh at the front of your mouth, which is different than shh, which is at the back of your mouth. We didn't cover that letter yet, but this is shh, stop talking, right? Shh. And then we covered this letter that looks like an E. So dapsa, how much or how many? And then Y, and this is an example, in my opinion, this is easier to read in Circassian than it is in the English transliteration. But sit, we covered that before. And then here, we know this letter is sh, right? We just talked about that. Sh. Now, in Circassian, we have multi-character letters. We have multi-character letters. We have many of them. We have approximately 25 or 30 of them. When you see this sequence of letters, that little B looking thing, it takes the ch that we covered earlier and it softens it. And when you take a ch and you make it soft, it becomes ha. Ha. And this ha, it's deeper than an English H sound. It sounds more like an Arabic ha, for those of you who speak Arabic. Okay. We covered this we covered this final This letter here is K. Looks like K, sounds like K, it's K. But this is not a letter by itself in this word. This is another multi-character letter. And when we follow a letter with a stick, it's literally called a stick. When we follow a letter with a stick, it shortens the and this is only with consonants. You never see this with vowels. It shortens the consonant and makes it more powerful, more explosive. So ka, like kites, ka becomes ka, ka, ka. Now I'm going to throw a curveball at you. For those of you who are diaspora, you have, I will guarantee you, you've heard your parents say, sich haka, sich haka. That's how my mom and dad say it. The way I say it, and that's perfectly acceptable. Nothing wrong with it, right? The way I say it, equally acceptable for this letter is tsa, tsa. And in this class, because I'm the teacher and I get to say a few things about the rules, we're going to pronounce this as tsa. So you put it all together, and this word here is sich hacha, or if you prefer, perfectly acceptable, sit shaka. Sit shaka. Okay. We'll go up here. So this H looking letter looks just like an H. In Circassian, in Cyrillic, it's N. It's the letter N. It's the sound N. Okay. Now we talked about this letter that looks like a T. It looks like a T. It sounds like a T. But remember a few minutes ago, I just told you that when we see it, and it's a consonant, right? It's not a vowel. When we see a consonant that's followed by the stick, it shortens it and makes it more explosive. So when you make a T more explosive coming out of your mouth and you shorten it, that T becomes a T. It's not a D. That's why there's an apostrophe. It's not a D. It's T. So this word then becomes an T. And some people will pronounce this word, has nothing to do with the spelling. Some people will pronounce this word nitla. Perfectly acceptable. I think Lydia sometimes says it that way. It's perfectly acceptable. I say it a different way, equally acceptable. We go down here. A minute ago, I told you that the ch, X, Mexico, X becomes ch. That little B symbol softens it. So it becomes ha. And we know all these letters. We just talked about them. So how, no, how. In the diaspora, you might have also heard how. Perfectly acceptable. There is actually a grammatical case for that. It's just, it means like really no, right? It's a slightly different word. It's like stop versus stop it. You know, you see, if you say stop it, it's like a little bit more forceful. It's kind of like that. How. Both are acceptable. It would be spelled differently. And I've actually never seen it spelled. So it might be more like give me versus gimme, right? Hamma, we've covered these letters. Hamma, right? This letter here is ha. Ma, hamma. Okay. Now we're going to get to khjebs. And this is an example of word roots. Kh actually means net, like a fishing net to catch fish, right? Jebs, it actually comes from Western Circassian, not Eastern Circassian, so it doesn't sound quite the same in Kabardian, but it means to sew. And so girls are the people who sew nets. I'm not, it's sexist, it's whatever it is. I'm not making a comment on that. It's a historical legacy of the etymology of this word, okay? So we know that this X symbol by itself is ch. And we know when we add this B looking symbol, it softens it and the ch becomes a h, right? Well, we have another B looking symbol and it has a little tail on it. That hardens the ch. So when we harden the ch, it becomes ch. Ch. It's a guttural back of your throat. Okay. We covered this. It's I. It's the letter I. Right. This is the letter delta, the Greek letter delta. Right. So we know this is D. The. This letter here, it looks like a butterfly. Okay. But I don't want you to think when people teach Russian, they say it looks like a butterfly because it's Cyrillic letter. Don't think of it as a butterfly. Think of it as a spaceship from Star Wars. Looks to me like a spaceship from Star Wars. And what do the spaceships in Star Wars do? They go zzzz, right? And that's the sound that this letter makes. Zzzz, right? So when you see this letter, think of a spaceship from Star Wars. Zzzz. Together, this is actually one letter. It's a multi-character letter. In my opinion, you don't have to know that it's a multi-character letter because if you know D and you know Z and you say them fast, you get J. Z. Just say it real fast, it becomes J. So these two letters, it's actually a multi-character letter and the sound is J, like my name, Jonty, J. We covered This is another B-looking character. There's a couple of them that you'll see in Cyrillic, but this one has a tail facing forward. So this is B. It's a B, just like in English. And the backward number 3 is a Z. So think of the BMW 3Z, right? 3Z. It's easy, 3Z. Easy, 3Z, 1, 2 peasy. So that's how you get khajebs. Pej. We covered this letter, P, P, just like English. We covered this letter, E, or rather, P, P, P. We covered the spaceship letter, Z, right? And then we covered this letter, S. Now, this is an example. If you speak English, you can make every sound in this word. There's the word, we don't have a j, but we have the word treasure. We have many words, imagination, depending on how you say it. We have many words in English that have the j sound in it. We just don't happen to have a j letter. How confusing is that, right? But this is still problematic for some of you, because what you have to do is you got to build the muscles in your mouth, in your throat, and in your tongue to be able to connect a j and a sh without a vowel between them. And when you do that, when you learn how to make that pronunciation, this word is, the word for correct is pej, but when we say it as an affirmative statement, it's pej, pej. And there are many words in Circassian. Circassian is notable. Part of its definition as a polysynthetic language is that it does not have many vowels. It only has 4 vowels, I believe. So we have lots of words like this, like the word for fish. It's not on the screen. It's just an example of phonetics. The word for fish, you can say every sound in this word if you speak English. It has a b, a d, a z, a z, and an a, right? You can say all those things, but the way you say it is zj. So it's a b, d, z without vowels, zj. So it takes time to train your tongue and your throat to be able to make all those sounds. Should I keep going? It's fine if you guys want to drop off, but as long as I see somebody, I'm going to just finish up what's on the screen. I'm not going to be offended if you drop. Okay. Mur, we talked about mur, salas, right? We know this. We feel comfortable with this now. Well, down here, the Circassian is not that far off. Looks like an M, sounds like an M. It's an M. We covered and then this does get confusing a little bit. The P in Circassian looks like a little box without a bottom, rectangle without a bottom. This letter looks like a P, but it's actually R. It's a rolling R. Mr, mr. Okay. We covered this letter. It's S, like stop talking. S. But then when we add the bash, the stick, sorry, sticking with English. When we add the stick, remember what the stick does? It shortens the consonant and it makes it more powerful and explosive coming out of our mouth. So that S becomes S, S, S. And actually, Western Circassian, Kabardian has 3 of these sounds. Western Circassian has an additional 2. I can't pronounce them, but they're like a whistling sound. And then if you ever go to study Abkhaz, they've got another 4. Yeah, it's crazy. They call it a whistling language. It's not really a whistling language, but in the region, they call it a whistling language. So we have ha, the A. This, again, if you've taken math, this looks like the Greek letter for lambda. That's what it is. It's the Greek letter lambda. It's L. We covered this letter. It's E or sala, and then s. Stop talking. Salas. And again, this is why, you know, I probably could have added an apostrophe here to make it a little bit. It's tough to do the approximations. And there are many words like this one where you have sa in the beginning of the word and sha at the end of the word. So that's why learning the alphabet is a valuable exercise. Oops. Here, right, we should be able to pronounce this. Salam, whoops, salam. We just covered sala, and we know that M is M in both alphabets. M is M. This letter is Y. 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 Just all it means. It has some special rules we're not going to get into right now, if you hear me in the future tell you something different, I'm not wrong now and I'm not lying in the future. There's just something extra that I'm not telling you about. Okay, now this letter, I don't even know how to describe it. This makes the sound of TS. So if you have one baseball bat, you have a baseball bat. If you have two of them, you have two bats. You have two bats, right? If you have two little itty bitty pieces of paper, you've got two bits of paper, right? Bats, bits, that TS sound. If you're air drumming, it's that sound, okay? Now, when we add this stick to it, we shorten the sound, we make it more explosive, and it becomes, this is another multi-letter character. So and then we covered the and we covered the okay? So if that's what the word were, it would be tsar, tsar. You hear it softer in my mouth, tsar. But that's not the word. The word is tsar, tsar, tsar. It's more powerful coming out of my mouth, and that ts becomes shortened. Okay? We've covered all these letters. This H is an N. Nart, narch. And we've got 3 or 4 letters left. So this C looking letter, it makes the S sound in English sometimes, like in scissors instead of skizzers. It only makes the S sound in Circassian. So sa, se, sa, se, shadas, sa, sa, jantish, sa, sa, adigas. Right? This is what we say. We talked about the Y letter, which makes the W sound, right? So when we add, and Circassian letters, you might want to say W. It's not W, because when you say W, you're adding a vowel to it. This letter is not W, it's W, W. There's no vowel. When we add the vowel, it then becomes W, W. And then here you see the letter by itself, W. So when I say you are, W, because there's 2 letters there, W, wusalas. There's no vowel with the second one. W, there's a vowel, wusalas. You're a boy. Wawu khajabs, wawu adigas. You are Circassian. And then finally, ar, right? Ah, and again, it's not ah. We don't say a like in English. In English, it is an a. In Circassian, it's not a, it's ah. There's no hard start to it. It's a soft start. Ah, ah. And then we have the final letter, r, rolling R. Ar, ar, ars alles, ar robots. Are Wonder Womans. Okay. That covers our alphabet crash course. Cool. Questions, comments, regrets? I see.
That was just applause.
Oh, okay. Thank you. And Maya, do you have a question?
I'm also applauding. Pardon me.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, guys. If there's questions or comments, ask them now. Otherwise, I'm going to go read my kids a bedtime story and put them to bed.
That's sweet.
All right. Tamam.
So
Sawish.
wasn't sure.
What it was in.
Thank you, Donkey.
Thank you. Thank
Thank
you.
you, man.
Stop the screen and I'm going to stop the recording.